I'm Nick Bolin, reporting on Bob McQueen, the owner of Macqueens Orchard. Okay, first question is, who originally started the farm?
My father, the late Hugh McQueen, started the farm in 1935. He planted the first 10 acres of apple trees.
Okay. How did he go about doing it?
He bought trees from a local nursery in Monroe, Michigan, and they got a shovel, and every 40-foot square they planted an apple tree until they had their 10 acres planted.
Why did they do it?
Well, he was general farming. We farmed 300 acres at the time, and the neighbor across the street had an apple orchard, and he went over there and he paid $2 a bushel for apples. And the guy said, how many apples do you get off an acre at the time? And he said about 300-400 bushel. So he started multiplying out and thought, there's a lot of money there. So he come home and set himself 10 acres of apples. That's really how we got started.
Okay, what is the story behind the farm?
Well, as I say, my dad started in 1935 with the first 10 acres. And we had that, and plus we raised a lot of livestock, pigs, chickens, cows, and we general farmed with corn, soybeans. And then we got out of the livestock business, and then we slowly planted everything to apples. As of today, we have 250 acres of apples and 30 acres of peaches.
What was the size of the farm in the beginning?
We started with 40 acres. Was the first time. Now we have 5 farms, which consist of about 280 or 90 acres of ground.
Okay. Okay. Then how did it grow? Did it grow more of a fast pace once you got it started, or did it take a while?
Well, in the apple business, it takes a while after you plant. I mean, it takes 4 years before you get anything harvested. With the rootstock we're using today, but years ago when we planted our standard trees, it took about 7 years for them to produce an apple.
Okay.
Now with newer rootstocks and different varieties, why we can get them in production in 3 to 4 years. We can make some money back on them. Planting apple trees is inexpensive. It takes us about $10,000 to plant 1 acre of apples now.
What all do you grow?
Just apples and peaches. We've got about 24 different varieties of apples and about 14 different varieties of peaches. We do that as the peaches so they ripen about every week apart through the season.
So along with your apples and peaches, I see that you have a bakery and then a cider area, I believe.
Yeah, we do about 30 different kinds of pies, homemade donuts, all the breads, cakes, everything. We have a full bakery, and we sell a lot of donuts in the fall season. Donuts and cider. We make our own cider. Last year we made about 130,000 gallons of cider right there in the farm.
I'm going to give a really weird question to you, but would you say everyone seems to love your cider and everything? Is it really good?
It's homemade. And we use about 6 different varieties of apples to blend it. If you used all Red Delicious apples, it's too sweet. If you used all Jonathan apples, it's too sour. So we blend it with 6 to 7 different varieties of apples all the time, and we get a good mix of cider.
Okay, that sounds good. My brother was... Then, I see on your website that you offer tours?
Yeah, we run about 400 to 4,500 kids a season in September and October. A guided tour. They get to go out in the orchard and they get a story of how the bees pollinate and how we bring the bees in, and they get to pick 3 apples. Then they come through the packing house, and we show them how we grade and through the storages. Then they go through the cider mill, and then we show them how we make cider, and then they get a donut and a glass of cider, and that's the tour. It's about an hour tour.
Okay. What is the farm like today, and what activities does it feature?
Well, in the fall season's our busiest season during the harvest season, and we have the tours going on, and then we have a fall festival in October. The theme is making homemade apple butter in a copper kettle, stirring it out under the tree, and we have about 100 craft people that come in and sell crafts, and about 40 food vendors, and then we have the horse and buggy rides and the pony rides, and we got about 15 kiddie rides, and It's we probably run about on that weekend around 30,000 people a weekend through the farm. Then after the festival on weekends, we have the horse and buggy rides and the pony rides, and some kiddie rides are there. And up until November, if the weather cooperates. If it doesn't, why, then we close up for the outside activities for the winter.
Okay. How would you describe a normal day in the life of running a farm goes?
Well, in our business, every day is a little bit different. We have the seasons. Right now is April. We're getting ready. The leaves are starting to come out in the trees. We're getting ready. Saturday we'll start spraying peaches for some fungicide on them. We're pruning peaches all winter and apples. After that, we got to get the fertilizer on and the brush out. Every day seems to be a little bit different. And then the summer through the season and keeping the orchards groomed, we have to keep them mowed. Then the fall is the harvest season, and then we pack apples from September till April. It takes us to bag, and we have 5 storages that we have our apples stored in, and then we have to bring them out, run them through the grading line, pack them, and by that time it's April again, and it's time to start all over with the spraying and the pruning and the brush getting out. And we have about 4 different seasons that we work in. It's not the same job every day.
Okay. Besides running the farm, what challenges do you face running it?
Well, the challenges of the farm, ours mostly, we have insects that we have to fight all the time in the apples. It takes about 22 covers of spray to raise a crop of apples clean. The backyard people do it with 3 or 4, but we can't afford to do it with that many. We put a lot of extra sprays on so we get a 100% clean crop. But the biggest challenge, I'd say, is the weather, which we have no control on. If we get frost and bloom, we lose the crop. If we get a hailstorm in the summertime, it cuts the apples up, the fruits jump. We lose them there. Dry weather makes, if we don't get the right amount of rain, dry weather makes the apples smaller. So we have, the weather is our biggest challenge. The insects we can control with spraying.
Okay.
I would say the weather is our biggest challenge.
Okay. Do you like doing what you do on the farm?
I love it. I've been doing it for my whole life since I got out of, well, I started when I driving tractor when I was 9 years old. My dad let me go to the field alone with the tractor, and that was, I've been on the farm ever since.
Okay.